Will silver get a new champion? Okay. So, silver definitely is one of these alternative currencies. Even though historically it was the currency for thousands of years, currently in May 2013, it is a hopeful alternative currency, even though the dollar is defined in terms of silver. So, another alternative currency, which has some controversy, are those bitcoins. And those bitcoins came back from the dead. I remember when bitcoins had their first hoopla, and they went high, and then this was like in 2011, right? We had this whole Bitcoin thing, and they went up, and they crashed, and they were really low. And they came back from the dead 2 years later to hit all new highs, even higher than a lot of some of the Bitcoiners expected. I remember when Bitcoin was at 50, Da Vinci was saying, there's a time to buy Bitcoin and it's not now. And it went from 50 and boom, like 266. That exceeded expectations of even some Bitcoin miners. Now, in the short term, I mean, a lot of those guys said, but anyhow, this isn't about Bitcoin. This is about a champion, because those Bitcoins found new champions. They're these Winklevoss twins, right? These hedge fundies who were a part of the original Facebook, or thought they were, and there was a big lawsuit involved, and so they have championed Bitcoin, and others championed Bitcoin. They brought it back from the dead. Even in Forbes, I'm reading in Forbes, this guy did an article about an illustrated history of Bitcoin crashes, right? April. And disclaimer, I own some Bitcoins. See, some journalists and hedge fundies, they are helping to bring Bitcoin back from the dead. Now, it looks like silver is dying right now. I'm saying this as a matter of like sentiment and opinion. There are people who are making YouTube channels saying that silver and gold are in a bear market now. There are people who are saying that silver's done. All these things. We're seeing some disasters in the silver realm. And in my opinion, silver will be done unless a new champion comes along. And this new champion could bring silver to all new crazy heights. Kind of like the Bitcoin. It was dead, and it was dead for a period of time. And then it was resurrected back from the dead. Resurrected! I'm going preacher on you, okay? Well, silver, it is a small market. I mean, if you look at the size of the silver market compared to the other things, it's a pretty small market compared to many other markets. A champion could bring this back from the dead. Now, in the past, I've said things like, a religious movement. Like, there's 1 billion Muslims in the world. If they decide to champion their religious money, which is the dinar and the dirham, right? They could, send the silver to all new heights. In America, right, there's a lot of strong Christian churches in America. If some Christian churches decided to say, hey, let's get back to biblical money, you could see, boom, the stuff goes up. But what I'm talking about is scenarios that I cannot predict. I cannot predict who the champion would be, and I cannot predict when the champion will arrive. Obviously, the Hunt brothers were a big champion, right? And we had some mini champions in the last few years. For example, like Max Kaiser was a silver champion. So was Eric Sprott. Same with Mike Maloney, but I'm wondering if these champions have become exhausted by the public. In the previous run-up, from what I saw, I think it was like a doomer prepper kind of champion thing for silver. It was the Alex Jones market kind of got saturated for silver. Like, for example, the general public didn't pretty much touch silver, but we had the doomers and preppers, and I fall in that category too. I'm, quote, a doomer prepper. I don't use those words, but I mean, I was feeling the doom. And doom's always around the corner. You don't know when doom will arrive, every year there's a tiny chance of doom. So but that's the history of mankind. There's always been a chance of doom every year. There's always a small chance of doom, and it's always good to prep. You don't have to call yourself a prepper, but it's always good to prep. So anyhow, like Mike Maloney, looking at the comments, wow, there's pretty harsh comments to Mike Maloney on his latest videos, and I hope that Dan keeps those up, because that tells the world what a sentiment is thinking. And of course, those who are bullish on silver will say that's very healthy to have such negative sentiment for silver. So Martin Armstrong, I highly recommend reading him. He says something about gold. He's saying the same thing. And actually, a lot of what I said is kind of inspired by Martin Armstrong. He said, is there gold in Fort Knox? The question is completely irrelevant. Why? Will it really make a difference? The stories of no gold in the vault are spun by people so desperate to support a gold bull market is just crazy. Try looking at this dispassionately. This is not the stuff that is going to make gold rise. We do not need this kind of tinfoil hat nonsense to create a bull market, and it really does far more damage than the gold bugs suspect. People who are not buying gold refrain from doing so because of stories like that. They do not take these claims seriously and perceive the idea of buying gold as a lunatic fringe when based upon stories that cannot be proved. He goes further. Gold will rise because it is a hedge against government. It is the investment that enables one to move their wealth from one medium of exchange to another when a new one comes, blah, blah, blah. He said the rally for the metals during 1970 to 80 was interesting. All of the stories spun today were invented in 1971. It was Chicken Little and the sky was falling. But if you want to make the metals prime time, you need to stop the tinfoil hot nonsense and treat it like all serious investments. Who cares if Fort Knox has gold or not? It is irrelevant. They will never admit there is no gold. So what? Gold will rise exponentially only when it is time, and it will be because the entire financial system is cracking, not whether there is gold or Fort Knox or not. Gold has to break through the 2300 level first before it starts getting anybody really interested. So what if it goes to 1150? Big deal. This is a market like anything else. Anybody who says buy, buy, buy is not worth listening to because they have no respect for your financial well-being. This is about surviving, not promoting something all the way down, loading up with more losses until you break. You buy the low, not the high. Okay, so Martin Armstrong, right? He's saying that the current, quote, movement is exhausted and it's preventing more champions from coming into gold, right? And silver too. We need to flush the unprovable theories, right? These are dragging down the metals. People associate the stuff with nonsense, all right? And some of the stories are provable nonsense. So now, Bitcoin, it died. It came back from the death, but it did take, some time. And Bitcoin years are much smaller than I think regular market years. So what is the time frame on this? I really don't know, right? I really don't know. Will gold go to 1150? I don't know. It could. Some people are saying it could. But I just want to say is you got to think about what are the scenarios that would take this stuff higher, because it seems like the current whatever is tapped out, and you need new champions. If these Winklevoss twins decide to pump silver, I think we'd see $100 silver. Seriously, if these Winklevoss twins and their Harvard hedgy buddies all decide to pump silver in a different light, I think we'd see that. But I don't know when, and I can't say how. Thank you.